A pleasant day, everyone. I'm here in front of you to talk about lysosomal storage disease. But before that, let me introduce myself. I am Rayhana Abdullah, second-year student taking up Bachelor of Secondary Education major in Sciences. Before we dive into our topic, let us first tackle about what is lysosome and why this is very important to our body. Lysosomes are membrane-enclosed organelles that contain an array of enzymes capable of breaking down all types of biological polymers, protein, nucleic acids, carbohydrates, and lipids. Its function is they break down excess or worn-out cell parts. They may be used to destroy invading viruses and bacteria. If the cell is damaged beyond repair, lysosome can help it to self-destruct in a process called programmed cell death or apoptosis. Now, what is lysosomal disease? Lysosomal storage disease causes toxic buildup that damage your body's cells and organs. According to the researcher, there are more than 70 types of lysosomal disease. 70 condition of inborn error metabolism, recessive inheritance. And you can see a parents here that the mother and father is carrier of this lysosomal storage disease. This means that when they have offspring, one of their offspring has lysosomal storage disease. All relatively rare because it is recessive, and symptoms usually appear in childhood, but adults also occur. Cause of lysosomal storage disease is that the lack of enzymes in the lysosome. So, why enzymes are very important in lysosome? Because it helps in digesting food particles, dead cells, old cells, and engulfing disease-causing microorganisms including protozoa, fungi, bacteria, also viruses. It also involved in the ingestion of dead cell along with other invading microbes. Deficiency of protein in our body also result in lysosomal storage disease, as it plays a vital role in modification of enzyme in lysosome. Most of the lysosomal storage disease are inherited in autosomal recessive manner. So like what I've said earlier. Now, how do enzymes and lysosome work? Enzyme assist your cell's lysosome with metabolism. They cause chemical reaction to help the lysosomes break down, such as carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, and older cells. You can see pictures of normal lysosome and defective lysosome attached on the screen. Here is what I mean. Technically, we have protein, carbohydrates, lipids, and older cells in our body. And enzymes will assist the lysosome to break down, eliminate, and recycle these materials. But with lack of enzymes in lysosome, breakdown, elimination, and recycle will not happen. That's why toxic materials build up inside the lysosome. If these substances build up in your cells, they become toxic. They build up, cause damage to other cells and organs. The damage from lysosomal storage disorders can affect many parts of your body, including your brain, central nervous system, heart, skeletal system, and skin. These are the symptoms of lysosomal storage diseases. We have skin rashes, burning pains in hand and feet, lung dysfunction, and many more. Now, let's proceed to the different types of lysosomal storage diseases. There are more than 70 lysosomal diseases, but for this report, we only focus on these diseases since what I've searched, these diseases are common or popular, if that is the right word, and lysosomal storage disease. We have Gaucher disease, Fabry disease, Niemann-Pick disease, Pompe disease, and Tay-Sachs disease. First, let's dive into Gaucher disease. This is due to deficiency of enzymes called glucocerebrosidase. This enzyme is proteins that perform several tasks, including breaking down fats, sphingolipids in your body. So if the person doesn't have this enzyme, a type of disease that causes fatty substances, sphingolipids to build up in your bone marrow, liver, and spleen. This is fatty chemicals called Gaucher cells. So why we need to break down the fats? Because the sphingolipids weaken bone and enlarge your organs. So they can't work as they should. There are 3 types of Gaucher diseases, or all of them cause similar symptoms in your organs and bones. Some forms of the disease also affect your brain and neurological system. We have first is a Gaucher disease type 1, most common, affect your spleen, liver, blood, and bones. It doesn't affect your brain or spinal cord. Symptoms are mild. Other people experience several bruising, fatigue, and pain, especially in their body and belly, abdomen. Symptoms can appear at any age, from early childhood to late adulthood. Gaucher disease type 2. A rare form of the disorder appears in baby younger than 6 months old. It causes an enlarged spleen, movement problems, and severe brain damage. There is no treatment for Gaucher disease type 2. Babies with this condition usually pass away with 2 to 3 years. And number 3 is Gaucher disease type 3. Worldwide is the most common form, but according to my research, it is rare in the US. It appears before age 10 and cause bone and organ abnormalities and neurological brain problems. And how common is Gaucher disease? Gaucher disease is rare, okay? And about 6,000 people in the US have the disorder. About 95% of people with Gaucher disease in the US have type 1. And now let's proceed to second disease, which is called Fabry disease. Fabry disease is a rare genetic condition with many different symptoms. Due to deficiency of the enzyme alpha-galactosidase A, this enzyme breaks down sphingolipids, a fat-like substance, and prevents them from collecting in your blood vessels and tissue. Most prevalent lysosomal storage disease, most common in male. Female also occur, but male is mostly common. And out of every 40,000 people have this disease. What are the symptoms of Fabry disease? Fabry disease affects people in different ways. Often, the first sign appears in childhood. In other cases, the person doesn't get any symptoms until later in life. Pain in early childhood is often the first sign of Fabry disease. It may be overlooked and dismissed as growing pains. In children, some of the other symptoms are burning feeling, usually in the hand and feet, group of small dark red spots on the skin, and etc. In adults, other symptoms that can appear include headaches, too much sweating, and more. And now let's proceed to the third disease called Niemann-Pick disease. Niemann-Pick disease is a rare inherited disease that affects the body's ability to metabolize fats. This is cholesterol and lipids within cells. These cells malfunction and over time die. This is due to deficiency of the enzyme called sphingomyelinase. Niemann-Pick disease can affect the brain, nerves, liver, spleen, bone marrow, and in severe case, lungs. Niemann-Pick can occur at any age but mainly affects children. Its symptoms are clumsiness and difficulty walking, excessive muscle contraction or eye movement, and etc. Niemann-Pick also has various types. We have this type A and B. Its build-up of fat in cell type A occur mainly in infants, progressive brain disease, and type B usually occurs later in childhood and it is not associated with primary brain disease. The second type is the type C. We have this rare inherited disease, cholesterol and other fats so accumulate in the liver, spleen, or lungs. Brain is eventually affected too. And now let's proceed to the Pompe disease. It's a genetic condition in which a complex sugar called glycogen builds up in the lysosome of your body cells. This disease occurs when you lack of specific digestive enzyme called acid alpha glucosidase or GAA. GAA normally breaks down complex sugars in your body, and the condition causes severe muscle weakness and wasting. To make it clearly, mutations in the J gene cause Pompe disease. The GAA gene is responsible for making an enzyme called acid. The body uses this enzyme to a complex form of sugar. Without this enzyme, your body can't break down glycogen effectively. The glycogens build up in your lysosome, causing severe muscle damage, which leads to the symptoms of this disease. Other names of this disease is Pompe disease, acid maltase deficiency, glycogen storage disease type 2. There are also various types of this condition. We have infantile onset and late onset. Infantile onset are typically the most severely affected. A complete lack of or very little acid alpha glucosidase enzyme causes this type of Pompe disease. Symptoms starts within the first year of life, most often around 4 months of age. Symptoms include severe muscle weakness and an enlarged liver and an enlarged heart due to cardiomyopathy. Without treatment, babies usually die of heart or respiratory failure between 1 and 2 years of age. And late onset is the symptoms may be milder and progress slower. However, they can still cause severe weakness and breathing, respiratory issues. Symptoms include muscle weakness, myopathy that can lead to breathing issues, but the disease is unlikely to affect your heart. Without treatment, people usually die of respiratory complications. How common this Pompe disease is that 1 in every 40,000 Filipino in the United States is affected. And now let's proceed to Tay-Sachs disease. It occurs when a child inherits flow mutation in the hexa gene from both parents. The genetic change that causes Tay-Sachs disease results in a deficiency of the enzyme beta-hexosaminidase A. This enzyme is required to break down the fatty substance GM2 ganglioside. The buildup of fatty substance damages nerve cells in the brain and spinal cord. There are 3 forms of Tay-Sachs disease. We have infantile, juvenile, and late onset. And now let's further discuss what are their differences. We have infantile form in the most common and severe form. An infant typically begins showing signs and symptoms about 3 to 6 months of age. Survival is usually only a few years. These are the signs and symptoms. We have this exaggerated startle response when the baby hears loud noises, irritated spots in the eye, and many more. And now let's proceed to the juvenile form. The juvenile form of Tay-Sachs disease is less common. Signs and symptoms vary in severity and begin in childhood. Survival is typically into the teen years. Signs and symptoms can include behavior problems, gradual loss of skills and movement control, frequent respiratory infections, and many more. And lastly is late onset or adult form. Rare and less severe form. Signs and symptoms begin in late childhood to adulthood. Signs and symptoms progress slowly. Signs and symptoms can include these following: muscle weakness, clumsiness and loss of coordination, tremors and muscle spasms, and many more. In conclusion, lysosomal storage disease are tough to handle because they are rare and show different symptoms. Right now, there are no cure for these diseases. However, researchers continue to make progress toward treatment options that go beyond treating symptoms to address underlying causes. By spreading the word and support more researcher, we can improve how we deal with these tricky disorders. That's all for my report, and I hope you've gained knowledge on what I have discussed on this topic. And thank you everyone, and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.